Levels, levels.
Levels, levels.
We should have checked levels before we levels.
Yeah, the pre-show check before the pre-show check.
Maybe. I don't know. You'd think if we're doing a podcast about movies and TVs and stuff, we would have a better handle on our AV than I don't know anyway. Hi, toddlers. Welcome to Talking to Todd, a weekly podcast with Dwayne Johnson and Todd Prinz, where failure is always an option. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Todd.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, speaking of our AV stuff, I'm just going to be really, really clear. I'm recording from a hotel. And if I suddenly just shouted out, hey, somebody get me a Best Boy, I think hotel security is going to show up. So I'm not going to yell for a key grip. Although I am in LA, so who knows? Like, did somebody call for a key grip? I'm a
key
gaffer.
grip. Can I help?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, actually, the person who's checking me in. By the way, I'm also working on being a director of photography. Can I help you? It's just a podcast. That's fine.
It's because you walk into Starbucks and everyone is an aspiring screenplay writer.
Exactly. Do you need help with your script? Oh, we don't have a script. Oh, well, there's your problem. Well, probably.
So this week, this is an episode at a time week. This week's topic was suggested by toddler number 6, David Batchelder.
So if this doesn't go well, we know who to blame.
Or if it does go well,
then the hosts did a wonderful job.
Excellent. Yes, that's how that works.
Exactly.
Excellent. Yep. So I believe his comment was, let me find it. John Hughes films. There's 8 that he wrote and directed. Rank them 1 through 8. And then do top 3, bottom 3 from any of his works. And I went, any of his works? I mean, how much stuff did John Hughes do? Have you looked at the Wikipedia page for John Hughes?
Yeah, the word prolific comes to mind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's more than 20 films that he was either a director, a writer, a producer, or at least did the story or was an executive producer on.
I had no idea on some of these that he was attached.
Looking at a couple of these, I think there's a reason for that. I think he's known for the big ones and the good ones. There's a couple on here. I'm pretty sure the reason why you don't know he's attached is he worked very hard so that you didn't know that he was attached to them.
I think that's fair. There's some clunkers.
They can't all be winners.
Hey, we say it pretty regularly. Maybe that's why David suggested this.
That could be.
They are not all winners. So let's start with, I'm going to list in order by year the films that he was a director on. Let's start with that. And then we can rank them after the listeners have a scope of this work from that John Hughes was a director on. Then we can put them in our order of how much we liked them. How's that?
Yes. Also,
yeah,
I don't think we need to encourage this, but feel free to jot these down and put them in your own order. I know some of you will. I know there will be thoughts about our order. So we are fully expecting some differing opinions on this. Okay, so we're going to go through the 8 that he did.
Right. So in 1984, he directed 16 Candles, Molly Ringwald, et cetera, et cetera. And then in 1985, The Breakfast Club and Weird Science, both in the same year. And then in 1986, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. 1987, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. 1988, he was a busy guy.
Yes, he was.
1980, 1988, She's Having a Baby. 1989, Uncle Buck, John Candy. And then in 1991, Curly Sue. And that was the last one he directed.
Yep.
And he hasn't directed anything lately, partially because he died in 2009.
Yeah, for a second, I'm like, what? Do you not, what, Dwayne? Oh, I see what you're doing. I see what you're
With
doing.
us.
Okay.
With us, not with us.
Although with AI now, it's entirely possible that he could direct. Anyway, don't care. Okay.
There's also a list on here of unproduced screenplays, other things that he worked on that didn't, I don't know. Anyway, boy, he was busy. Anyway, so I've got, not only did David suggest this topic, but he also listed his choices in order for how these things ranked.
Okay.
For him. So, do we want to go bottom to top? Do we want to go top to where? How do we want to do this?
Well, I'm going to need to make it a small disclosure here.
Yes.
Up front. I'm only slightly better with John Hughes's movies than I am with Taylor Swift songs. So just so we're clear.
Okay.
I recognize all of them.
Okay.
I understand that they are movies, some of which I've even seen scenes from. However, of the 8 that he has written and directed, once I went through and said, okay, have I actually seen this movie? I've only seen 3.
Get out.
See, that was the look I was waiting for. So, as it is...
To be fair,
yeah,
in this window,
yes,
I was working at a movie theater.
You were working at a movie theater, and we didn't show movies at Pizza Hut. So I was listening to a ridiculous amount of Def Leppard being played on a jukebox in Pizza Hut. So
that explains some things.
It does. So the ones that I have seen, I'll just be clear. The ones that I have seen is Ferris Bueller's Day Off,
Ching.
Weird Science,
Yes.
and Breakfast Club. That's it. Those are the 3 that I can rank.
Are you kidding me? Dude, you have homework.
Well,
that's it. We're just pause. We're going to pause the podcast right now, and we will be back in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. I don't know. Yeah, so go ahead.
When I started typing all this stuff out, I went, oh, Dwayne is not going to be happy about this. I should probably maybe knock a couple of these out. And then I went to I've never seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I understand the concept. I've seen things from it. I've quoted things from it, but I haven't seen it beginning to end. I should go, no, I'm not paying that much for that. No, what are you, nuts? So my list is pretty short is what I'm saying, but I prefer to think of them as the top. So that's why I said we should start at the top because I will be out of the conversation fairly quickly.
For the record,
yeah,
7 of 8, and didn't need to see the 8th one. Nobody needed to see the 8th one. I'm pretty sure you can guess which one it is.
I've got 2 in mind. Anyway, okay. So what's your number 1?
My number 1 is absolutely Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Hands down, not close.
Yes. Number 1 on my list, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
There you go.
By the way, and since we're are we including Dave's here?
Yes. Okay. Dave was also Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
So did I don't know if I've shared this before. I saw a thing about movie editing on YouTube about 4 or 5 months ago. I may have shared this or not. The person who was talking about the editing, it turns out that entire script, everything was in different order. The entire day was in a different order, and they shot it. And then they put it all together in the order that he wrote it, and the movie didn't work. It just, the test audiences hated it. And then they went and looked at it and went, oh, I see your problem. The parade is the parade was in the morning. They did the parade and then they went and did other so
This
all
other
the
stuff, and then went to lunch, and then went to the baseball game.
yeah, and
The
so
parade's the high point. The parade's the
so
capper.
yeah, so the movie as written and shot didn't work, and then John and the editor was like, well, if we move this here, move this here, move this here, now we got ourselves a movie. But the other piece I found interesting is the guy that did this says, do you understand? His comment was, you understand Ferris Bueller's Day Off is not about Ferris. It has nothing. This is not a Ferris movie. Do you want to guess in his mind who the movie is actually about?
Is it about Cameron?
It's about Cameron. Cameron is the only character that develops. Everybody else is the same at the beginning, at the end of the movie from where they started. They're all characters in Cameron's story. Interesting way to look at it.
Yeah. I would say Jeannie develops more than Ferris does.
Well,
Ferris's sister.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when Charlie Sheen shows up in your life. Anyway, okay.
Drugs?
So,
No, thank you.
9 times. Anyway, sorry. Okay, so Ferris, number 1, cool. Lock it in. All right.
Lock it in. Number 1.
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. You're going to have to drop the $14.95 and watch this thing. I've got it. You know what? I've got it on DVD. I can mail it to you for less than $14.95.
Okay, couple
I can
things.
also upload it, and you could note, technically, we can't do that. Never mind.
Okay. All right. Dwayne's mailing me DVD. Step 1, go buy DVD player. Step 2, buy cables to connect DVD player to TV. Step 3, watch movie in standard def.
On the pan and scan version that I've got from 1990. Yes.
Oh, that'll be so good. So good. In number 2, because I haven't seen Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, I put in, because again, I've only got 3 to choose from, I put in Breakfast Club.
David had Breakfast Club as number 2.
There we go. Okay.
So, does Barry Manilow know you rate his wardrobe? This is what we're going to do. We're just going to do quotes all night.
I will say, as I put together this list, I did compare Ferris and Breakfast Club. 2 different movies. Again, Ferris, fun. Cameron changes. Everybody else just having a fun time. Breakfast Club, message, movie, And then I went with, if I could only watch one, which one would I want to watch? Oh, yeah, definitely Ferris.
Yeah. Well, I saw in doing research for this pod, yes, I did research. I stumbled.
Research with quotes.
I was surfing, with my nose buried in my iPad. I ran across a fan theory that the Breakfast Club existed the entire day in Ali Sheedy's character's mind. None of the rest of the characters were real. It was all in her imagination. She was the only one, and she was imagining all of these interactions and being chased and kissing the jock and getting the makeover and all of this stuff. Yes, it was all in, that was a fan theory. It was all in Ali Sheedy's mind. I'm sharing it. I don't believe it, but I'm sharing it.
And the last scene of the movie should have been her pulling back, seeing the high school in a snow globe.
By the way, the Breakfast Club was my number 3.
Okay. All right.
David's number 3 was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. What was your number 3?
Well, it's number 3 by default. Technically, it's also my last pick. I could have left it blank because it's not the number 3 movie. I mean, it's the number 3 movie on my list. I'm perfectly fine if it would have been lower, but by default, the other one I've seen is Weird Science.
Yeah, that was 5 on my list.
That's probably where it should have ended up on my list too. But you haven't even seen those. Yeah, I left some room.
So I had number 4, Uncle Buck.
Okay. You're staring into John Candy here.
I just a fantastic John Candy movie. Do you know the premise?
I've seen half of it, but I don't remember any of it.
The parents have to go out of town and they reluctantly call on the brother-in-law, Uncle Buck, to come and stay with these 3 kids, one of whom is Kieran Culkin,
Okay.
Macaulay Culkin's little brother,
Oscar winner.
Oscar winner. Right. Is that right? Or is this, hold on. Yes. Um, no, sorry. It's Macaulay Culkin who's the youngest kid,
Not an Oscar winner.
not an Oscar winner. But the back and forth writing between John Candy and Macaulay Culkin. So the uncle has to come and stay with these kids, and the oldest girl is a rebellious teenager, and then it's just hilarity ensues, as it is wont to do with John Candy. But it is touching. He stands up for these kids, even though they mostly don't respect him, but they end up doing so by the time, because he goes to bat for them, each and every one of them. And it's a touching, heartwarming. It's so great. Love Uncle Buck. And that was my number 4. David's number 4 was Weird Science. His number 5 was Uncle Buck.
Okay.
Batchelder and I'm telling you, we're right in there. My number 6 was She's Having a Baby.
Okay.
His number 6 was 16 Candles. The two of us had those reversed. I had She's Having a Baby above 16 Candles because that movie does not hold up. If you want in 2025 to watch some cringe-worthy 97 minutes, oh my word, it does not. It does not. It is absolutely a product of its time. And if you can watch it, knowing that, and knowing that there are things that in 2025 are very uncomfortable and not culturally appropriate in 2025, and knowing that, and you still want to watch it, there are things that do not hold up. It is not good. So
And
that's why it was 8.
In reference to 16 Candles.
In reference to 16 Candles.
Yes.
She's Having a Baby is a good movie. But compared to everything else on the list, I mean, it's an okay movie. But, okay, so that 16, 6 and 7, 16 Candles, She's Having a Baby, we back and forth. But we agreed that number 8 is Curly Sue.
Yeah.
And in fact, David wrote, for some reason, Curly Sue ended up being 9th on my list.
Out of 8.
Out of 8. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's some work for you to do here.
I mean, you know what? Here's the thing. I'll acquire them, and then we'll start slow binging them.
We're going to watch 30 minutes a night for the next week.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, so then phase 2 of this, top 3, bottom 3 of all of his work, which includes Mr. Mom, National Lampoon's Vacation, everything that we said before, European Vacation, Pretty in Pink, he was a writer on, not a director, Pretty in Pink, Some Kind of Wonderful, The Great Outdoors, very, very funny movie, Dan Aykroyd and John Candy, Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, and then a whole bunch of other stuff. Dutch, Beethoven, Home Alone 2, Dennis the Menace, Baby's Day Out, Flubber, Home Alone 3, Drillbit Taylor, Made in Manhattan, all of these that he had a hand in. Most of them he was a writer on. Made in Manhattan and Drillbit Taylor, he was responsible for the story, but not the actual writing. Anyway, all of that. Have you seen more of those, Todd?
I've seen, well, let's put it this way. I have seen more of them. I don't know if the ratio gets any better.
Okay.
And there were some things on this list that I'd never even heard of. I mean, to be completely honest, like Savage Islands.
Yeah, what the hell is that?
Not totally clear. Didn't realize that National Lampoon's Class Reunion, 1, was a thing, and 2 came out before Vacation.
I didn't realize European Vacation came out before Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, see, none of this I don't know that this tracks. Yeah.
He was not involved with Vegas Vacation though. Just want to point that out.
Yeah. So anyway, yes. So I've seen a few more of those. I did my top list again because my bottom would have to be movies that I saw of his that I didn't like, because there's a bunch, like, for instance, I'll just like, I mean, he did the story for Drillbit Taylor. That could be on my bottom list, but
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it. So anyway, I've got the tops of all of his stuff in here.
Well, I this is going to be pretty easy because David's comment on the bottom,
Yes.
1, 2, and 3, everything after Home Alone. 1, 2, and 3, everything after Home Alone, 1990. That's it.
Just real quick, I'm assuming he means by the year,
Yes.
like listed on here. So
Yeah.
really quick, that includes the great movies such as Career Opportunities, Only the Lonely, Dutch, Curly Sue, Ding, Beethoven, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, Dennis the Menace, Baby's Day Out, Miracle on 34th Street, 101 Dalmatians, Flubber, Home Alone 3, Reach the Rock, Just Visiting, Newport South, Made in Manhattan, and Drillbit Taylor.
Yes, they all tied for worst.
He may have a point.
I'm not arguing with that.
Okay.
So taking into account Mr. Hughes's work between 1982 and 1990, our top 3 things overall that he did.
Yeah.
What was your? Let's go with the bronze. Should we Olympics this? The bronze, silver, and gold.
Yeah, I was going to say you may have to explain that to at least some of our listeners.
Okay.
What Olympic?
Okay, so the bronze in 3rd place.
Okay. So I had 5. We're doing 3, I believe. And now I'm changing it up. I'm changing up as we go. I think in 3rd place is Mr. Mom.
In 3rd place for David was also Mr. Mom. For me, again, we were supposed to rank our top 3. I brought 4.
Sure.
I had Mr. Mom in 4th place.
Okay.
What was your 3 in all ties?
I would say, well, the 2 that didn't make the cut were, okay, so one is Breakfast Club.
Okay.
The other one that made the list that was in contention, and this is where I'm not saying that this is, I put it on the list because I'm like, it's a pretty good movie. I'm not sure it's one of my favorites, but it's pretty good for what it is Home Alone.
It is pretty good for what it is.
I mean, yeah. It needs to be on the list somewhere. So those were the also rans.
That's the honorable mentions, as it were. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So my bronze then in the number 3 spot would be Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
I hear really good things about that. People have been talking about that recently. Where was I? Just today somebody was talking about that.
You're messing with the wrong guy. Gotta watch this movie. It's so good. How about The Silver?
I'm going to go with the original, just the Vacation.
The original Vacation.
Yes.
Good talk, Russ.
Is it a great movie? No. Is it at the time when I watched it? Let me put it this way, to your point. All of these movies may need to be fixed in time. When I watched it, was it entertaining and funny as hell? Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. It's still pretty damn funny. Tying Imogene Coca to the top of that car. Oh my God. Maybe I appreciate that more now than I did when I was 16. Oh.
How
My
about your silver?
bronze, my silver and David's silver, both Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because I quote Christmas Vacation more than I quote regular vacation, and maybe more than I quote almost anything else. Possibly. Though I do quote Mr. Mom a lot. 220, 221, whatever it takes.
I was going to say, that's the line from Mr. Mom. I mean,
Yeah.
there's others, but that's the line.
And in your top overall pick, the gold.
I'm going to have to stick with Ferris.
And I stuck with Ferris, and so did David. Regardless of all of these other things that he'd been involved in, still such a good movie.
Fun fact to tie Ferris Bueller's Day Off into another theme that we have on this. Dwayne, do you know when I saw Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Do you know when or where I would have seen it?
Met Theater?
Nope. Fun fact. Remember when we went on RegBri? The year that you went with us? And then
Yeah, like 87?
86, 87, maybe 86.
Either summer of 86
one
or
of those,
summer of 87.
Yeah. Remember the night that you left us because you had to go to the scout thing, right?
Yeah, we went to Philmont. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the night when the thunderstorms came, and when we went to sleep, we were 5 rows of tents between us and a small little creek, and when we woke up, we were next to a very large creek, and all 4 rows or 5 rows of tents had been moved in the middle of the night. And everything was completely soaked. And Mom and Aunt Sue were like, we can't ride today. This sucks. Everything's wet. We're not doing all of this. You, however, were at home in a dry bed. So we packed all of our stuff up. My Aunt Sue found somebody who had a camper who's driving to the next town, which happened to be Washington. We put our bikes and loaded up, and they drove us to the next town. We then set up everything, set up the tents, get everything out to dry. And then we're like, now what are we going to do? We could go see a movie. And that movie happened to be Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And to be completely honest, that was the first time I'd been in air conditioning in 5 days. And so the fact that I was ready to go see just about anything. Curly Sue, sure, whatever, bring it on. That's fine. Beethoven, great. But it was Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and we saw it. So had you ridden with us or ridden on the bikes or whatever, you too could have seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off in Washington while not riding RegBri that day.
The other movie that came out that summer that was in theaters at the same time, because Greg and I saw it on our way to Philmont, I think we got to Dodge City and we went to the movie theater because we'd been in the car all day. And so what we wanted to do was sit longer. We saw Running Scared with Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines. Did you ever see that?
Have I seen the John Hughes stuff? No. Did I see Running Scared? I'm positive I've seen Running Scared. I don't remember much about it. Here's what I remember. This is what makes me think Running Scared was. I remember being pretty excited for that movie. And then I saw it. And then I wasn't excited for that movie. This ought to be really funny. No. Didn't work.
Action buddy comedy. It was okay. I mean, it's no 48 hours. Did you see 48 hours?
Yes, I've seen that one too. Oh
Okay.
my God. I've seen movies.
Okay.
That's going to be next episode out of time is just you naming movies. Seen it, Todd?
You see that
Yes.
one? Did you see
No.
that one?
No. Yes. You say yes, but you don't. Tell me 2 facts about it.
Google.
Overall, though, I mean, wow. John Hughes was prolific.
For an 8-year span, he cranked out as much as and some just fantastic stuff. You can be prolific and not great.
True.
He was busy and really, really good all at the same time. It may have been the cocaine. The music is Happy Boy by Kevin MacLeod. You can subscribe to our award-winning podcast with visiting Movie Buff, Todd Prenz, wherever you get your pods. Just search Talkin' and the number 2. There's no G and no space. You can stop by and see us at the Tube City home office. Please don't do that. Thanks to our listeners, our sponsors, and our contributors. We appreciate you, and you can send your feedback on this episode or any episode to feedback@talkingtotodd.com. I want to say, for the record, allegedly, I think does that Todd?
I was furiously searching. Please say somebody else has said this on the internet before us. Please say somebody else has said this on the internet before us. Yeah, allegedly. Also, I'm like, oh no, I found a story. Oh, it's from AL.com. I don't even know what that is. On the other hand, as soon as you said that, my thought was, oh, that's a good one for our next one. We can rank Aaron Sorkin joints. No, the movies, not the joint. Anyway,
not that he didn't. No, he didn't do. Well, maybe he did. He did Lost. I'm sure we're going to have something we need to clean up when we get back. We'll be back at some point. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back. We're here. We're talking to Todd.
Haven't seen that. Wish I hadn't seen that. Oh, hey, there's a good one.
He had an addictive personality, said his younger brother. He did everything 100%. Yeah, it's pretty clear that there was performance. These were performance enhancing drugs.
He's not going to be welcome back to Wrigley Field.
Hey, bada, swing, bada.